Hey guys, this is Daniel from DG Voice Studio. I want to take a minute to answer some of the questions you probably had before about how to buy a guitar. Even before we get into the video series on playing chords and playing the guitar in general, I wanted to talk to you really briefly about how to choose the right guitar for you. One of the first things you're going to consider when buying a guitar is the size of the guitar. Several years ago, the manufacturing company Martin came out with a sizing system that ranked from a mini or O size all the way up to a JS or jumbo size. Each of those guitars in that series represents a specific purpose and usage and also has a different sound. But the reason why size is important for you to consider is simply because of what your size is. If you are smaller and shorter in stature, and you are young, you may want to get a smaller guitar just simply for ease of play. If you are in your teens or an adult, it may be okay for you to buy a full-size guitar. Keep in mind, within the size spectrum of a guitar, you also may have an option to buy a thin body or a deep body. Just like the size of the guitar might impact your playability based on your size, the depth of the guitar will do the same. So if you're smaller and you have short arms, maybe a thin body is the type for you. One of the other things you want to consider is what type of guitar would you like to learn on? Would you prefer to play on an acoustic guitar? Would you prefer to play on an electric guitar, perhaps a classical guitar, or even an acoustic electric version? Each of these options is good and right in their own way, and they all do different things. The acoustic 6-string guitar and the electric 6-string guitar are very similar. In fact, most of your learning with a private teacher will happen pretty much the same whether you're playing acoustic or electric. I'm not going to get into too much of the different types of strings that you can use on a guitar, but do know that if you purchase a guitar that has nylon strings, the playability might be different. It might be softer and easier to play because the strings are more pliable. There's not as much pushback and they're not as taut. However, you can't interchange the strings. If you have a nylon string guitar, you definitely do not want to put steel strings on the guitar, and that works the other way around. If you buy a steel string guitar, it's not built for a nylon string, and that setup might cause it to have poor sound. The third point I want to talk to you about is just the price point. And price point plays an impact on a lot of things that we purchase, doesn't it? And it's going to do the same for you with guitar. It may determine whether you buy a brand new guitar or whether you buy a used guitar, but it also might impact the options you have for the brands. Like a lot of things, what you pay for is what you get. So make sure you do your research, look at the reviews for each guitar, and ask your teachers specifically, have you heard of this guitar? What do you think of this? Is this the right one for me? The last thing I want to talk to you about is probably the most important, and that is, what is your preference? When I go to buy a guitar, sometimes I go into the store and I like to touch and feel the instrument, and I like to see it. I like to see it in person. There are other times where I've purchased guitars online, having read lots of reviews and having seen someone else's guitar in person. So if you like to buy things online, just know you should read reviews, and it would be a good idea for you to go check one out in the store first and see what you think about it. But ultimately, whatever you decide based on the factors that I've shared with you today, it should be your preference because you want to enjoy it, you want to be proud of it, and you want to pick something that's going to motivate you to practice and have a good time. I hope that this video has helped you determine what are some things that you can consider when purchasing your guitar, and I hope you get your guitar soon because we're going to start a brand new video series, a new playlist on our channel that is about how to play the guitar.